show you what she knew before she knew it, but when it came
Hmm.
down to it, she was like, "Oh, okay, you can connect this thing and you can do
That
this," and you can
experience
see
kicked
how it
in.
would work out, and then she could do
Yeah.
it. And they didn't make her like, "Oh, I can just like what was it like." I could just fucking fist fight and beat up a bunch of grown ass men. No, she understood. Like I'm pulling out this fucking machine gun and I'm blowing y'all ass away. I'm going to throw some grenades. I am going to use this ancient sword of Ra and fucking burn your ass to death. Like
But
I'm not fucking with y'all. Like
Yeah.
I'm pulling
but this
guns
is
out.
but see, this is
Shoot your
that's the
dumb ass.
thing though. Like it's you don't get that. Like you don't get that type of energy these days. Like Laura had energy, and I'm gonna be a buck when I say this. Laura had energy that guys can relate to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that's what made her more interesting to us. Like
Yeah,
And
compared
sexy.
to back in the day. Oh,
yeah,
exactly.
for
Because that
sure.
attitude, she was just like, look, I
You
can
know,
handle this. She
I,
said,
I,
as long as I got 6 clips in the bag, I'm good.
yeah.
yeah,
You know,
it's
like
like I'm glad you said that. Like when you're like, it's more than just her looks; it's how she act. But it's both together. It's like it's not
exactly.
just
Oh
one or the
yeah.
other. Because like
It's
think
Yeah.
about it. Like
collaboration of the two.
yeah, because like think about it. Back in the day, I know you guys all remember like when there was some game that like it's a no name game. We can't even think of the name of the game, but like where they would try to advertise it with just a bunch of big titted women, and that's it. That's all they were. They had no character. They had no personality. They had nothing. You don't even remember what the name of the game was or the characters. It's
No.
like
DMX XXX.
yeah, something like that, right? And it's
Oh,
like
I
you're like
forgot about
Larry,
that.
Leisure Suit Larry or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like you don't
that's a
that
good
that
one.
shit didn't appeal to us. We were looking at that like
No.
so fucking what? Like
Yeah.
that shit had no and those games failed. But
Trying too
then
hard.
yeah, but when you look at a character like, let's say Kasumi from Dead or Alive, they would say, "Oh, well, why? Like, look at this character. She's just big tits." It's like, no, there's more to the character. And then when people that
Yeah.
turned into a joke, like, "Oh, well, there's
Yeah.
more to her than just her tits, bro." It's like, but there was because guys, yeah, we like titties and shit, but like the thing that's gonna make us like men have one-itis not because a girl is super hot. Because if that's the case, most men wouldn't have one-itis because most girls are not super hot. Most
Yeah.
girls are average. All right.
Yeah.
And that's fine. What makes us think that a girl is like when we have one-itis and we're like, oh my God, that's the girl for
She's the
us,
one,
right?
bro.
She's the one. It's because of what she is doing. It's because of what we perceive her personality to be. It's
Oh,
what we
absolutely.
perceive her to be. Because
You know,
we've
I
all
think of
had that
Lady
girl.
from DMC3. The way she was too, like she didn't give a fuck if Dante was a demon or not. She was out to do her own thing and
Yeah,
had
lady.
her own story. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I just talked
and
about it
she
in
Hey,
my last
played
Billy,
into the
video.
game.
Billy Donut, I agree with you on that. The reboot, yeah, she
Oh,
didn't she didn't know if she wants to be scared or be a murderous psychopath. I definitely agree with that.
I think that's
yeah, the
because
tone was very off.
I think it's because they didn't. So, from what I understand about the reboot lore, in the beginning, when they were writing the first one, the 2013, the plot
Mhm.
was completely different. The plot was essentially like, and funny enough, it's written by a female writer. Like, the plot was essentially Laura is very, very weak. Like, this is the very beginning of Laura's story. She's very
Mhm.
weak. She has no kung fu action skills. She doesn't have like all the combat experience. All she has is her brain, essentially. And it hasn't been tested in a real world scenario yet. She's just been a lab rat essentially her entire life, and or not. When I say lab rat, I guess I just mean like person that's not been in the field. So
Yeah,
it's like in a dangerous field. So now she's
she's green.
stranded.
She green.
Yeah, yeah, she green. So essentially now she's stranded in a place where like she doesn't have anyone to help her. Only her brain is going to get her out of this situation. And it's like so the way that story was supposed to be written was that like she is very vulnerable pretty much throughout the entire game, and she really can't hurt or affect most people until like certain events change her to realize like this is the reality of shit and I have to do this. And it's like
So
you
this
can
is
kind of see
supposedly the
that.
prequel. In other
Yeah.
words,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that that's what they were going to do, but they but that game got changed, I believe, because there were certain scenes in it that they were like, "Oh, well, this is misogynist.
Yeah.
You're putting her in a weak damsel in distress position," because essentially, like, she was going to get captured. And they were like, oh, it's an island full of fucking dudes. So, if there's one woman there, you can
What do you think we're
imply.
gonna have? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And
just
so,
I
like,
remember that too.
yeah.
I will never stop doing that, bro. I will never stop doing that. I don't care.
Oh man. Hey,
You're
I
right,
yeah,
have
man.
though.
no
I
I
love
have
it.
no
I'm
chill.
all
I
for it,
have
man.
no chill.
Oh
Boy,
boy.
you gotta think, man. If I'm on an island,
Bruh, look, you get fucking 50 dudes on the island that smell like fucking man butt all fucking day.
Hey,
And
As
then
soon as
some
you
some
catch a whiff of
attractive
that,
woman is there like, oh, I need help. It's like, bruh, she done.
I'm like, I'm
And,
like, I'm
and
like,
and that's
I'm like, come
exactly
here,
what the writer was
come here.
thinking. She was like,
Just
man, her ass is done. So you know what? She's gonna have to develop a brain in order to get the fuck out of this situation. But they're like,
and
oh
that's
no, you can't do that. No, no,
and that's
no.
way more interesting too, man. Oh, man, that's
I'm gonna
so.
be honest though.
Oh,
Like
goodness.
the reason also I like the original Laura Croft because she trained for all of this because you can't just be a person with a
Oh yeah,
brain
Yeah,
and be
yeah,
get
but
stuck in a situation like that
that's
and
true.
not expect for
Yeah,
you
to
no.
ain't
not
catch
do
a you ain't catch an OG lore like that. You better
Oh
get your
no.
shit
no.
Look, OG
fucking.
Laura, like that's the thing. In her fucking mansion, it's like everything's a fucking training. Everything is training material in her fucking
Exactly,
house. It's like
exactly.
everything she's doing. That's one thing. Like I think the like on a side note, the Tomb Raider movies, those original ones, those first two, they are underrated for video game movies, in my opinion.
And
They
oh, I am happy you said that. I am
because like
happy you
no one
said that.
talks about that. I'm like, dude, like these actually represented how the Tomb Raider franchise is and how Laura is. It's like, when she's like, I'm wanting to say, I think it's from the first movie where the CIA agent is coming to like give her ask her for a mission, and the butler's like, yeah, you're gonna have to wait. She's in the middle of her fucking training exercises, and she's like
Mhm.
riding on a horse, shooting targets out the fucking air, jumping
Yeah,
off the fucking horse, like to escape some shit. It's like she's training because she's like, okay,
wait, are
I
you talking
have,
about the Angelina Jolie movies?
yeah,
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Okay,
man.
okay, yeah.
I haven't seen those. I need to see those again. I haven't seen those forever. Because normally when you think video game movie, I immediately go Mortal Kombat. That's the best one.
Mortal
yeah,
That's my favorite
Kombat,
one.
exactly. Like that's what most people think.
the
Like
Mario movie.
Mortal Kombat One, like the first one, right? It's like everyone
Yeah.
thinks like, yeah, that's pretty much the only video game movie that pretty much did it almost exactly right. It's like, man,
No,
The Tomb Raider
that's
ones was good too. Like,
exactly.
Because they were movies. That's probably why I don't think of them. Because like they were just good movies. I don't even consider like the game aspect of it, even though it literally was.
I'm
Man, I
talking
need to
about
go back
like
and see
through and
those.
through. It was pretty tight with it. Like
yeah,
I'm
Mm.
not gonna lie. Like
yeah,
it
it
was
was. And
like
like they chose the perfect actress to play Laura Croft. It was like that's her, dude.
exactly.